Alright guys, it's Saturday morning here. Got the crew, we're going on a little road trip. We're going to a factory that makes just a small component for the bike, but it's so important, this component, that they do it right, because if not, it's not going to lead to a good ride. So we're going to go up and check that everything is bang on to tolerance before they send our component out. Cranks. We're at the biggest crank manufacturer in the world. They make our cranks and our chain rings here. You can see a lot of cranks. Are making millions of these every month, and it's so important that they're machined very accurately. They've got some very high-tech processes to do that, so we're gonna go through them and make sure that all the details are bang on for our cranks. So when the cranks are made, this square hole is so important that this is manufactured directly and to spec. When it goes on the shaft, that they fit together perfectly. Because if there's not, 100% surface contact, it will kind of grind down the aluminum. This is softer than the shaft. It will grind down over time, and that can make this loose, and eventually it's going to come off. So when these are made, we test them on a square peg. It's got to be above this and below this. That ensures that it's going to fit on the shaft perfectly. They check that the length is correct and that everything was machined. There's no burrs on here. There's some other gauges that we have to check it, so we'll have a look at those. Here we're doing the heat treatment of the cranks. They've got T4 and T6, and the cool thing about how they do it is it's all processed in a single layer. So it's going to be a very, very even heat treatment. Traditional heat treatment is you get a whole stack and put it in an oven, but the heat isn't dispersed very evenly. So this is going to be a much better process to ensure, that each crank is heat treated to the same specs. So this machine is pretty impressive. It's a cold press. It's as big as a house. In one end you get a sheet of steel coming in, and then it comes through here into these molds, and then with millions of tons of pressure, boom, they come and they stamp out a chain ring. So steel in, chain ring out. It goes through these molds. Each one is very finely precision made. They cost $100,000. So very impressive. So here's where the precision machine shaft and bottom bracket component. If you look behind us, just this state-of-the-art equipment here. We're not allowed to film up close, but very, very cool stuff. This is what a crank looks like before it's pressed. Pretty amazing that you get a crank from this. You guys have seen this test before. What they do is they take the cranks, the bottom bracket shaft, and stick them in here, and with 180 kilograms of pressure, force down on it over 150,000 times. So every new product they make, and then one out of every several batches of products, they've got to stick it in here, do the test. It's for EN testing, and just make sure there's no abnormal wearing or anything, breaking. Obviously would be very bad, but that's the test. Our history with this company goes way back, actually, to our first production run. You may remember a video saying, FLX won't get shafted. It was all about the motor shafts and ensuring the accuracy of those shafts. So originally, we actually had some motor shafts that were made out of spec, and we found those before they assembled the motors. What we did is we took those shafts and we sent them here to Pro Wheel for them to test the shafts with their cranks and tell us exactly, where it could be made better. And so Pro Wheel, in this very room, they've got all this, very, very high precision optical and spatial measuring equipment, extremely expensive, extremely high accuracy equipment that can measure down to the micron. So they took the shafts and measured them on these gauges, also with their cranks, and they found out that some of the shafts, the angles on them weren't precisely manufactured. And that's where this video came into play, our old video where we came in, you know, really got down on them and put in this whole inspection process to make sure every shaft was bang on. So now we're here again, getting ready to receive the cranks from Pro Wheel, the shafts from Buffon, and we just want to make sure that everything is done perfectly, that not only the shaft but also the cranks are precision fit, so that we can ensure perfect, see there's no movement here in any direction, a perfect fit between these, that there won't be any sort of movement that will cause the crank to wear down over time. So this company is the biggest name in the business. They've been doing this for many, many years. Millions and millions of cranks come from them. But before we receive the cranks from Buffon Motors, we just want to make sure we talk with them and go over the full inspection process and see that there's, you know, no minor details that we can improve on. So I'm gonna chat here with the management in a bit, and I think the guys are gonna take the bikes out. They've got a testing ground out back, so we'll have some fun. We've actually got 3 cranks here. So one is from Pro Wheel and it's bang on. It's the kind that we're gonna use on our motors, and 2 from 2 different manufacturers. One is a huge manufacturer. I can't say the name, but they're very famous in the world, and you know, you can feel quite a lot of movement here. So saying that, you know, these cranks are a tighter spec than that brand is very big. Another one is from another manufacturer, and when I move this I can hear it click. Definitely not want to use these on the bike, so that's a great thing. I mean, we're already at a very high standard here with these cranks. We're going to chat a little bit more about them here. Just had a great meeting with these guys. We talked about a lot of stuff about the cranks. We established some even stricter testing standards that they think that they can hit them, and we're gonna go through 100% checks on everything just to make sure, you know, they're right on target. We also talked about some things with the chain rings, and as everybody knows, we are switching to smaller chain rings with this batch of bikes, so you'll be able to climb hills, you know, faster. And then, for example, the attack and the trail are going even smaller just to fit their environments better. We've got some big developments about the chain rings on the way, so we've got to just talk with them, make sure that it's possible to manufacture, but maybe we'll have a really cool update for you guys about that soon.